In the frozen tundra of Siberia, the remains of woolly mammoths have been remarkably preserved for thousands of years. These colossal creatures, with their shaggy fur and sweeping tusks, once roamed vast stretches of the northern hemisphere before disappearing roughly 4,000 years ago. But in recent decades, science has advanced to the point where an almost mythical question is being asked with genuine seriousness. Could we bring the woolly mammoth back to life? And if we could, should we? In this video essay, we'll explore the complex science of de-extinction, the ethical implications of reviving a vanished species, and finally, whether a cloned mammoth could actually survive in our modern world. Let's begin with the scientific foundation. Cloning is not new. In 1996, scientists famously cloned Dolly the sheep, the first mammal cloned from an adult somatic cell using a technique called somatic cell nuclear transfer, or SCNT. The method involves taking the nucleus from a donor cell, which contains the animal's DNA, and inserting it into an egg cell from which the nucleus has been removed. The egg is then stimulated to start dividing and, if successful, implanted into a surrogate mother. The success with Dolly sparked immediate curiosity. Could we apply the same process to bring back extinct species? But cloning an extinct animal like the mammoth comes with enormous technical obstacles. First, we need an intact, viable nucleus. Most mammoth remains have been frozen, but freezing damages DNA over thousands of years. While scientists have recovered many mammoth genomes from well-preserved specimens, none have found an entire nucleus capable of functioning like a fresh one. In the absence of a perfect nucleus, researchers have turned to a related strategy: gene editing. The Asian elephant is the mammoth's closest living relative, sharing about 99.6% of its DNA. Using CRISPR-Cas9, scientists can identify mammoth genes that code for cold-resistant traits, like thick fur, subcutaneous fat, and special hemoglobin that works in freezing temperatures, and insert them into elephant DNA. The idea isn't to create a pure mammoth clone, but rather a hybrid, an elephant modified with mammoth-like features. Leading this research is Harvard geneticist George Church and his team, who aim to produce what they call a mammophant. This approach may bypass some problems of nuclear decay, but it raises other questions. How many mammoth traits do we need to edit into an elephant before it stops being an elephant and becomes something truly mammoth-like? And even if we could recreate the body, could we recreate the mind, the social structures, and the learned behaviors of a species gone for thousands of years? Beyond the lab, the next challenge is reproduction. Asian elephants could, in theory, serve as surrogates. But elephants have long gestation periods, about 22 months, and reproduction carries real risks for the mother. Elephants are already endangered, and subjecting them to experimental pregnancies could be both dangerous and ethically questionable. Some scientists are exploring the idea of an artificial womb, but that technology is still in its infancy. This brings us to the ethics. Even if we solve the scientific puzzles, should we do it? One argument in favor is ecological restoration. Mammoths once helped shape the Arctic landscape. By knocking down trees and trampling shrubs, they maintained open grasslands that reflected sunlight and kept the permafrost cold. Some scientists believe reintroducing mammoth-like creatures could slow climate change by restoring this mammoth steppe. Another argument is the advancement of science itself. Working to bring back mammoths pushes the boundaries of genetic engineering, synthetic biology, and conservation science, fields that could help save living species on the brink of extinction. Yet there are significant ethical concerns. For one, animal welfare. Do we have the right to create sentient beings that might suffer in a world radically different from the one they evolved for? Would a single mammoth or even a herd truly belong in today's world? Or would they live as perpetual zoo exhibits, never free in the wild? There's also the question of resource allocation. Should we invest millions into resurrecting extinct animals when countless existing species are disappearing due to habitat destruction and climate change? And what about the slippery slope? If we can bring back the mammoth, what stops us from reviving other extinct animals? Perhaps even Neanderthals or other human relatives. These scenarios force us to consider not only what is technically possible, but what is ethically defensible. Finally, let's consider the biggest question of all. If we did manage to bring back a mammoth, could it even survive today? The environment the woolly mammoth once thrived in no longer exists as it did during the Pleistocene. Back then, vast expanses of cold, dry grasslands, known as the mammoth steppe, stretched across Eurasia and North America. This ecosystem supported large herbivores like mammoths, woolly rhinoceroses, and steppe bison, alongside apex predators such as cave lions and saber-toothed cats. These animals helped maintain the grasslands through grazing and trampling, preventing forests from taking over. Today, much of that land is covered by boreal forests and tundra, ecosystems that would challenge a mammoth's survival. The climate is warmer, and human activity has fragmented potential habitats. Even if scientists could breed a herd of mammoths, finding a suitable, sustainable home for them would be incredibly difficult. They would need vast areas to roam, forage, and migrate, just as their ancestors did. One project that hopes to address this is Pleistocene Park in Siberia, founded by Russian scientists Sergei and Nikita Zimov. Their idea is to recreate a version of the mammoth steppe by reintroducing large herbivores like bison, muskoxen, and eventually mammoth-like hybrids. The hope is that these animals could restore grasslands, slow permafrost melt, and even help combat climate change by keeping the ground cooler. Yet, even supporters acknowledge the plan is ambitious and faces many unknowns. Climate aside, there's the biological question: would mammoths handle modern diseases? Elephants today face threats from viruses like EEHV, elephant endotheliotropic herpes virus, and bacterial infections. A cloned mammoth, or mammophant, might have no natural immunity to modern pathogens. Their immune systems evolved for an ancient world, not one where humans, livestock, and invasive species have dramatically changed the disease landscape. Social structure is another challenge. Mammoths were highly social, living in matriarchal herds like modern elephants. Calves learned survival skills from older females over many years. Without living mammoths to serve as guides, how would young mammoths learn to find food, migrate, or interact with each other? Even the best efforts to recreate mammoth behavior might fall short of the complexity of a naturally evolved, culturally transmitted knowledge. We must also consider welfare beyond survival. Would a single or even a few mammoths live fulfilling lives? If they become symbols of scientific triumph rather than truly wild creatures, their existence might be more for human curiosity than for the species' benefit. The discussion of cloning mammoths forces us to reflect on our role in nature. Humans played a part in their extinction through hunting and habitat disruption at the end of the last ice age. Does that mean we have a duty to bring them back? Or does it mean we should focus instead on protecting the living species now at risk of disappearing for similar reasons? The same technologies used to attempt mammoth resurrection could help endangered species. For example, cloning techniques could bolster genetic diversity in dwindling populations, while gene editing could help animals adapt to changing climates or resist diseases. Some argue these applications are a more responsible use of our scientific capabilities. Yet, the allure of bringing back a mammoth is powerful. It touches something deep in our collective imagination. The chance to undo a loss, to see a giant of the Ice Age walk again, and to feel that the irreversible might not be so permanent after all. Whether that dream becomes reality depends on the choices we make in the coming years. It requires asking not only if we can, but if we should, and for whom we are really doing it. Is it for the benefit of ecosystems, the advancement of science, or simply to satisfy human curiosity? In the end, cloning a mammoth is not just a question of DNA and technology. It's a question about the relationship between humans and the natural world, about responsibility and humility in the face of extinction, and about understanding that while science gives us incredible power, it also demands profound wisdom in its use. So, could we clone a mammoth? Science is closer than ever, and the first mammoth-like calves may indeed be born in the coming decades. But whether they can thrive, and whether they should exist at all, remains a debate as vast and complex as the tundras those great creatures once called home. In confronting this possibility, we are forced to grapple with our past, our values, and our vision for the future. The story of the mammoth may ultimately teach us less about resurrecting the dead, and more about what it means to truly protect life on Earth today. And perhaps, in that reflection lies the greatest legacy these Ice Age giants could offer us.